Turn the record back on. All right. So again, to access your template, go to AppSell, Template and Materials. To get your task and prompts, go to Task and Prompts, then Templates and Materials. Next thing then is your review box. We've kind of got it set up in the order that you're going to need them. Next is your review box for discussion board. Next is where you put your completed peer reviews that you did of other folks. And you put them back in discussion board for the people that you're reviewing them for. And then you put them here to get your grade for having done them. And then when you get your task one back and it's been peer reviewed, you've made the corrections and your instructor said it's good, you put it in the Dropbox here for your grade. And then when we get all 5 of the tasks done and put it all together in one document, and you can actually write it in the same document because it's got to become one document in the end. We're going to put it in the Turnitin check to make sure that you've got all your reference size properly, and then it's going to be ready for task stream. Now, we do not put individual tasks in task stream. We put the AppSell in when we have all 5 tasks done and it's been peer reviewed, it's been passed by everybody. Then and only then do we put it in task stream for the state grading. So make sure you understand we do not put individual tasks in task stream. We put the completed evidence, the AppSell, in there, and then we'll put the AppTell later on this semester. So there is a process here that teaches you, that gets you up to speed to make sure that you can follow directions and that you can do the work that's been given to you and that you've been charged with doing. And that's very important.
Dr. Lamb, I'm back. I lost everything, died. I don't know what happened, but I got back on. But
all right,
there will be.
I might have missed a couple minutes, but I've got the record button on. So yours will process the first part, and mine will process from here on out. So hopefully we didn't miss anything important.
Okay, good.
All right. So that kind of works your way through, and then once you do task 1, you move right in. While you're waiting to get your peer reviews and to work your edits on your task 1, you go ahead and start a draft of task 2. And that's the way it works. You're starting a new one while you're finishing the old one, and it's going to be that way all the way through. That's never going to end. You're always going to be turning in one rough draft while you're editing a final draft for it to be graded. That's where you're going to be always. So you've got to be able to do more than one thing at a time.
Dr. Lamb, they need to understand too that it's so important that you time management is so important with this add-on licensure program. If you keep putting it off, then I promise you will get behind, and it's almost impossible to catch up if you don't stay up and do everything as you're supposed to. You need to become married to this, and you need to allot specific time to this. You know how your schedule works, but you've got to allot time to it, and you've got to figure out what is going to work with my schedule so that I can make sure that I have completed things and done it in a timely manner instead of waiting until an hour before it's due to Dr. Lamb and me on Sunday night and then throwing something together and knowing that it's not what it's supposed to be and knowing that we're not going to accept that. So, work out the time that you need so that it can be done correctly from the very beginning.
All right.
Dr. Lamb, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So just to clarify, because I like to be very specific, the POC, which we should be starting in the next week in order to do our task 1, we should be looking at an area of academic concern, but it doesn't have to necessarily be like a tested high school subject. Like, for instance, one of my school improvement plan's goals is to improve the number of students that we have that are passing like the ACTs, SATs, as it relates to their academic data so that they can do better going to GTCC, which is a dual enrollment program for all of our students, and they haven't been doing well. So if we form a POC to address that area of concern, as long as there are test scores and stuff that we can analyze that the school collects.
Standardized test scores.
Okay, because I mean, we do get the SAT, the PSAT, and everything, and we can see that data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. As long as it's standardized test scores, you got a lot of tested areas in high school, some of
Right.
you secondary people, and so that's exactly right. But it can't be some test that you give in American history class that the teacher made up. That's not what we're talking about. We're looking for standardized test scores that are announced to the public that represent your school and that people form an opinion about your school. And you get these ratings on all these crazy websites now that they have. That's what we're talking about here. We're trying to raise not only the profile of your school, but we're also trying to help children learn more and do better in school. And so,
And for the most part, you need to be able to look at the 3 most recent years of test data when you are disaggregating data.
so the question is reading 3D. Reading 3D is absolutely what you would use. Dibbles, reading 3D, M-class. Those are the kinds of things that you're going to be looking at in K2.
Map test, yes.
So Dibbles, M-class, map, yep. 3D, reading 3D. Could you check in data to? I don't understand that one. EOC testing, absolutely. Yeah, SC Pass and SC Ready, that's correct. Could you use yes? So the question on the use is yes. I ready, yes.
Yes.
Anything that's standardized and not made up by the school or a teacher.
It's research-based. All that is research-based.
Yeah. We're trying to move the needle on your school, because that's what you're charged with doing when you become a school administrator, is moving the needle on your school. NC check, provide with statement with yes. And if you're in a large district like Charlotte-Mecklenburg that has quarterlies, that's a standardized test as well. Secondary tests we have, yes, I'm familiar with all of those. I'm a former high school principal. So yes, I am familiar with all of those. That's what we're talking about. Any kind of a standardized test. Any of those. It just can't be some arcane test that some teacher gives. That's not what we're talking about.
Somebody asked, could they subgroup or the whole school? That's left up to you. You can look at the subgroup or the whole school, and again, your administration and your PLC will help you determine, what you need to look at.
To form a PLC, you ask the principal, what do you think? Now, the person who says I'm going to need a lot of help here, I'm a singleton who teaches engineering, brainstorming how I can help those tested areas. It doesn't have to be the area that you're in. Sometimes it's better for it not to be the area that you're in. There's other tests at your school like PSAT or SAT that are common to all students. You might want to hook on to the math department and look at math EOCs. It doesn't have to be your area.
Yes, it could be grade level specific. You could look at one specific grade in a school.
Now, for those of you, yes, it can lead into the leadership that you do later. That is correct. Now, one of the things that I want to caution you about, and I'm not being ugly and I'm not being pejorative or I'm not being discriminatory here, but if you are in a non-traditional academic area, for example, if you are an exceptional children's teacher, or if you're a CTE teacher, or if you're in some area that's not exactly mainstream, it would behoove you, that would be a good thing for you, if you would try to step more over on the gen ed side. Maybe not on this one, but at some point during this program, it would be good for you to be seen as something outside of your little niche area, so that you could be thought of more as a school leader rather than a leader in the exceptional children's department. It will help your growth and development, and it'll also increase your opportunities when it comes time for looking for jobs.
Exactly.
If all you ever do is work in CTE, and all you ever do is work in exceptional children, then you're going to get pigeonholed into that. So you want to look more globally. So the question from Julie, I guess, is the answer to that question, Julie, is yes. That would be an appropriate thing to do. That would be a good thing to get on the ground floor of as a new subgroup that's emerging in your building, to get a handle on it before it becomes a problem. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about doing here. It's exactly it. We want this to be real. Now, these evidence artifacts are not play. You don't make this stuff up. This is real. We're talking about real people, real people's lives here. This is your opportunity to get experience without being in the job. This is a demonstration portfolio. As I told you last night, this is like doing 3 national boards. But at the end of this, you're going to have a portfolio and experience that other folks aren't going to have that are competing with you for jobs. We're getting you on the job. We're getting you on the job training while you're in your clinical internship, which most people don't ever get. But we believe thoroughly and soundly that the research supports the notion that we're giving you live ammunition here. But these are not fake rounds. This is not like Barney with no bullets in his gun. This is live, folks. This is real. We expect you to be a real clinical intern during this process. We expect for you to do things that are real and have impact at your school.
And Dr. Lamb, I will tell them, students that have taken this program seriously and have really done an excellent job with their evidence artifact work, we've had a high success rate with them getting jobs in a short turnaround time.
Mm-hmm. We've in the last 6 years, we've placed more students in jobs than the rest of the programs in the state of North Carolina combined. We've had a very successful, and we've got the iteration of this program that you're in now started 8 years ago with the evidence artifacts. We have a new principal this week that came through this program. We have hundreds of assistant principals. We have several principals. One has already become principal of the year in Union County. Our folks, the last time that Davis Drive Middle School in Cary advertised for an AP, the 3 finalists were all ours. They were all 3 my interns. And it's like picking between your 3 children as to which one to recommend. That's a good problem to have for me. Make me have that sleepless night. I love that. Okay. And so, but the reason why our folks do extremely well during interviewing is because they've done the real work. They can answer the questions. They know what's going on. It's not hypothetical or theoretical. They've actually done the work. Okay, do we need to choose our PLC topic knowing that we need to get results in our action plan, like being able to have state results before we're done to show what we have done or helped or not helped? When you determine your most pressing need, that's part of that decision your PLC makes. I'd ask for some input from my administration as well. You won't get results by the end of this semester, but what you're hoping is by the end of your program, you'll have some results. That in the spring, you'll have some results because you're going to finish next summer. It'll be fall, spring, and you'll graduate next August, first Saturday in August, and you'll start looking for jobs in May and June, and you should have some results by then. And there's nothing better to be able to walk into an interview and say, I can make a good number go up or a bad number go down. I'm your person. Here's what we've done. So yes, you'd like to have some results next May when test scores start coming in. That would be great.
Dr. Lamb, we've got about 3 minutes and our hour will be up, unless we need to go on any further. As a reminder, just remember this week, it's important that you get started on task 1. You need to, if you haven't already done so, you need to meet with your site administrator, your principal. You need to go ahead and talk with them about your PLC. You need to talk with them about identifying the problem, what they want you to look at, because whether they're part of your PLC or not directly, they are always indirectly involved with it. So you need to always have their approval on everything you do. Remember, these are things that you need to get established this week. That's the whole purpose of this week, is to get started. Don't wait until next week. Get as much done this week on task 1, and go ahead and look at task 2 as well, because all of it kind of goes together, and get as much of that done this week as possible.
All right. Last question here. What if our state scores don't? Again, you're not going to report scores on the AppSell. The AppSell is going to be done in about 6 weeks, and you're going to move on to the AppTel. There is no requirement that you report the outcomes of these programs in the AppSell or the AppTel. You may be able to report them when you do the SIOP next summer in July and August, or in July. Next July, you're going to spend the month of July putting all this stuff together and creating a school improvement plan. At that time, you will have results. You'll have preliminary results, and you'll add those to your final SIOP report. At that time, that is the 6th of the evidence. It's done in July. You will have data at that time from this program, and you'll know if it worked or not. And you'll be able to write that in the narrative of your SIOP, which is a coordinating activity.
And remember this: you are identifying the problem. We're only asking you to look at the 3 years most recent data. It may not be there yet, but you can look at the most recent data and still do what you need to do.
Okay. Last question: should you have heard from your CC1 about making your site visit? You'll hear by Friday. I'm a little tardy. Julie and I've got one, and I've got to contact the rest of mine, but for some reason I've been kind of busy today. I have no idea why, but where do we find the task that must be signed off? Go to with that.
Go to their handbooks. It's in their handbooks, Dr. Lamb.
See where MELS Scale Handbook is, folks, if you'll click on that tab. Now, everything that are in these 2 handbooks are in the big one, but I pulled it out. In your clinical handbook, it has the task for your 80 hours. Right here. Look at this. Gives you the program description. There's the log you keep it on. There's your activities right there. Your suggested list of activities. We'll talk about this more on Thursday. This is on the clinical side. We'll talk about, this is how we'll start out on Thursday. But if you want to know what activities to get started on for your 80 hours, right there they are. They're in your handbook. It's under the MELS Scale Handbook, and we pulled it out for easy use. We pulled it out and made a site supervisor handbook, and we pulled out a clinical handbook for you. Those are found inside of that MELS Scale Handbook, but it's a couple 100 pages long. Here's the quick reference guide. We've made it easy for you to find.
Carrie, we'll talk about the competencies later on. Don't worry about that right now. That'll come, but we'll talk about the competencies that you need to relate to that. A lot of that will come out Thursday when we talk to you again.
Pretty easy. The competency right here.
Okay.
I've got them already. They're right here. If you conduct a small or large group meeting with adults, that can either be dialogue, inquiry, or communication. Okay. That's the competency right there. I've already got it mapped for you. And the competencies are mapped for the things that you do in your evidence artifacts as well. I've got the number here because I couldn't squeeze in, but right behind it, I've got what that is. So right here is where you get that competency for that column. The proof is how are you going to show proof that you did that? What artifact are you going to use? Is it going to be an email? Is it going to be a picture? You need to write that down so you'll know where to go and find it when you have to go put it in your competency folio. And then how long it took you to do that. It's a pretty simple system. We do this every year. We do it twice a year. We take new groups in, about 250 a year. We have a pretty tight system here that works. Folks are doing really well, and we're very happy. But folks always have questions. We like questions. That means you're interested, you're engaged. But everything is here. Take time to explore all these. My point is take time to explore all these tabs and kind of do them in order. We've got them laid out in a logical sequence, and it'll answer a lot of your questions and make you feel better. But don't worry, we'll get you through. All right. Somebody said they didn't have. Well, I updated these. I updated this one this afternoon, so everybody's got this one now. And this was in the old one as well. But I put it.
They're in there. Look at all the both of them. And I took the old one out and put the new one in the C2 and the C6 section. And you said you had already done it in C10 and C12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd already done those. Last question tonight. Do you have to put down a proof for every one of these? No. Everything that you have on this list, you're not going to put in your competency folio. You only have to put one competency for this semester for communication. You only have to put one for creative thinking, and you only have to put one. So everything you do, but the idea here is when you do something and you've got a really good artifact, I'd write that down and where I can find it. Everything you do is not going to have a really good artifact that's going to look good in your portfolio that you're going to show prospective employers. But if you've got a good one, something that's really good, that shows creativity or that you worked really hard, that's one I would put down. But no, you don't have to have a proof. You don't have to put something in your competency folio for everything you do during your clinical hours, just the best ones. So on this page, you might have 15 activities. You might not have but 2 really good artifacts from that. But this is more for you. All I'm interested in, yes, the question to Angie is yes. But all I'm interested in is the date, the activity, and the hours. The competency and the proof is for you. That's for your record keeping so that you'll know that you've got some good things. Because sometimes when you sleep, you forget. Not as much as me because I'm old, but you will forget too. I had a good competency for that one. So really all I'm interested in is date, activity, and hours. The competency and the proof columns, again, are for you so that you can go back and look at this and say, oh, yeah, I've got that really neat thing. I've got that digital flyer that I made for parent night. I could upload that as proof, as an artifact. That's what this is for. This is to help you get organized. If you're not a really highly organized person, it's okay, but hopefully by the time you get through this program, you will have learned some of those organizational skills. This is a little organizational trick here that I'm trying to get you to help you with your organization, because you can't, trust me, if you're lucky, you'll get old. You can't rely on your memory all your life. You need to put systems and processes in place as an administrator to help you be more organized and manage your time more efficiently. All right. If there's anything else for the good of the group? Yeah,
just real fast. Just remember what you're doing this week. When you put everything in the form of an email to your site supervisor asking permission to do your PLC, to form your group, whatever you do it. That is a form of communication. That is one of the first. That's one of the first artifacts that you'll be collecting for your folio.
Yes, on textbook adoption.
Yeah.
The question on textbook adoption, yeah, you can use that. All right.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Stedman, if your computer is available, if you can pull up that the first half and I'll look.
It did. It started, time it went, knocked off, it started recording that, so I'll be able to do that part. And just know that you're going to get it in 2 parts because my computer died and I had to get it back to life.
All right. We'll send them to you.
Okay.
We'll see you Thursday.
Okay.
Now, There'll be a different link on it, Dr. Stedman.
I'll send that out tonight as well to them.
There you go. All right,
Okay.
folks. Appreciate your time. We'll see you Thursday.
Night. Bye-bye.